When people ask me, why do I live in Collingwood? I say, why would you want to live anywhere else?
Collingwood is beautiful. I feel Collingwood is more like receiving, like appreciating. And Collingwood, I think Collingwood support a lot of entrepreneurial journeys. And that's one of the reasons inspired us to find some place in Collingwood, because I'm thinking about opening a business.
I think a lot of people appreciate, especially if they've come from more urban places than we are, it's a little slower, it's a little kinder. Now, let's not forget we have a lot of outdoor recreational activities that you can walk to because we're on the bay, lots of boating and swimming and beaches, and so many kilometers of trails, and of course a very short drive away to ski. And
I just really like the area. You got the water here, the mountain, hiking. It's just a really outdoorsy place, so I really loved it and decided to stay.
So back in 2021, the town council, staff, and the citizen-led Affordable Housing Task Force really made affordable housing a key priority for the community. And this came out of the Affordable Housing Task Force really ringing the alarm bells to how many people in our community are struggling with housing affordability.
for people who work in Collingwood, we need a lot of housing for them. And it turned out we need 1,300 rental units for people who are earning a moderate income of about $48,000 to $68,000 a year. And they're the backbone of so much of what our community has to offer. And whether it's a nurse in the hospital, a resident in the hospital, someone who's in the pharmacy department, it could be a teacher, someone who's finished school, starting their first job, doing whatever. Those are the people that we really need here in the community, and we don't have enough housing for them.
Affordable housing is in a crisis situation.
Rental rates have been skyrocketing. Most listings exceed over $2,000 a month. Purchase prices are so unaffordable that potential buyers are driven down into an already constrained rental market. And there's an increasing number of people in our community that are within what we call core housing need. So these are people who are facing inadequate housing, unsuitable housing, and unaffordable housing.
Last term, we started up our Affordable Housing Task Force, and I volunteered to be a member of council who sat on that initial body that was set up. And we did a lot of great things to get things going. We firstly had to decide how many units do we really need here of housing for people who work in Collingwood. So we hired a top housing consultant in Canada who did that work for us. We recommended council put aside $300,000 a year to help the initiative. We suggested a full-time person be hired, those kind of things.
One of the best ways to address these issues is to reduce the regulatory burden on homeowners who are looking to build what we call additional residential units. So additional residential units, or ARUs, are smaller scale housing types that can be built within your home or on your lot, and they're often considered secondary to the main dwelling unit on a property. So this could be a detached structure in your backyard, sometimes called a garden suite or a tiny home. It could also be a basement apartment. It could be a unit above a garage or a unit as an addition to your home. The program is made up of 3 key components. The first is a concierge service. So that's a dedicated staff person, which is me. I provide a sort of elevated service to homeowners looking to build these kind of units on their property. Now, if a homeowner has never done this before, it can seem quite daunting to have to navigate through the building and planning process. A lot of the language and processes are quite technical and don't always seem accessible to the average day homeowner. So what I do is I help walk people through the process. I try to provide that kind of elevated service right off the gate so they know what they're getting into, and I try to avoid springing any information that they might not be ready for. So giving them all the tools and information right off the bat so that they can prepare for the process and understand the kind of costs that may be involved. And I can also connect them to people in the community who can support them through this process as well. Second part of our program is the pre-approved design catalog. So back in March 2023, when we launched the program, we opened up design submissions to architects, designers, and ARU manufacturers who can submit designs to our planning and building departments. Our planning and building departments will review the designs to make sure they comply with the town zoning bylaw as well as the Ontario Building Code. And if they meet those two things, they can get pre-approval from our building department and be available online in our pre-approved design catalog.
Those pieces definitely made things a lot easier. I mean, the design process and getting those designs approved, we know from our construction business, can be a really difficult and arduous process. So having pre-approved designs was like, okay, that's like a big step closer to just getting shovels in the ground.
The final component of our program is some financial incentives that we have available to support homeowners on their ARU journey. So the first grant stream is $10,000 that's offered to homeowners that commit to renting out their ARU for a minimum of 5 years on a long-term basis. So we want to avoid these ARUs going into the short-term accommodation market. And so we provide this financial incentives to people who commit to renting their unit on a long-term basis. So a minimum of, a 12-month, your standard 12-month lease. We also connect homeowners to the County of Simcoe's secondary suite program, which offers up to $30,000 to homeowners who commit to renting out their ARU at an affordable rate for a minimum of 15 years. So it's a bit more restrictive, or there's a bit of a higher bar to achieve that loan. And if homeowners are successful in getting the County of Simcoe's $30,000 loan, we will stack an additional $5,000 to kind of honor homeowners' commitment to providing affordable rental housing in our community.
We want people, we're encouraging people, if they want to add ARUs, and we want to make it as incredibly easy as we possibly can. Then there's the incentives on top of that.
Between the town and the county, someone can get up to $45,000 if they'll create a unit. So there's some details around that, but boy, I think that goes a long way to help.
A homeowner can receive $15,000 from the town of Collingwood and an additional $30,000 from the County of Simcoe for a total of $45,000 to help support their ARU project.
Towards the end of my project, I was starting to run a little low on money. When the inspector came, he informed me that there was this grant available, and I would say within 2 weeks I had the money, so it was opportune. And that's how I got into it. I was going to make the apartment anyway, I just would have had to stretch it out a little longer otherwise.
The financial incentive was definitely made things a lot easier. Because we chose the pre-approved designs, the financial grant actually covered the permit costs, the design costs, and some extra. So that was just the combination of the two of them actually was a really big incentive for us too.
These kind of units have a ton of community benefits. They are built either using existing space in your home or existing space on your lot, on an existing lot, and already within an existing residential neighborhood. So they are closer to amenities, and they're also using land and municipal infrastructure quite efficiently. So you're concentrating that development within a built-up area.
Not only is that better for infrastructure, water and services, but also better for building communities that are close and diverse, and allows people to live like active lifestyles where they can walk or ride to work, to the grocery store, and all of that.
If a young adult is struggling to start out in Collingwood and can't yet break into that home ownership market, they can potentially work with family members to purchase a home, build that kind of ARU. One family member lives in the ARU, the other family lives in the main unit, and you're all living on the same property, which has great benefits for just general well-being in our community.
I highly recommend it to, if you have somebody has a basement, so making a basement as a secondary unit. And then town is very helpful, so easy to get your permit and a drawing approved.
It's quite easy to rent it out. There is a demand in this town, so the chance of it sitting empty for any length of time wasn't a problem. Anytime I went into the town to talk to them, I had help. I never left there without having the next step that something I had to do, but yeah, I was covered.
The town has access to the app that basically allows you to see whether your property would qualify for an ARU. And then, of course, the other thing to realize is that not every ARU is a separately contained unit. You can put an ARU, build an apartment above your garage. You can build an apartment in your basement. And so there's many options that you can use, but the key is to provide more affordable rental housing.
Well, our lot is 150 feet long. We're going to put this structure in the back, and the backyard that's left for the main residence is still like quite average for a new build these days as far as like the backyard size. So you have this property in the back that acts as an additional unit, additional income for the owner, and you still have a full residential lot basically for the main dwelling.
It's going to solve a lot of problems for our business community. It's increasing the total amount of revenue that's being generated in the town generally. And I think it also, it demographically balances our community a little bit more.
You know, we can always talk to the engineers who did our design, and we can talk to you guys at the town. You can always ask people questions and ask people for help, and I think a lot of people would look at a project like this and say it's way out of my wheelhouse, like I don't know how to manage that. But I think it's possible for a lot of people, so just have the confidence.
The basement unit always is for me like an extra source of income, and it helped me to further getting the mortgage easier.
Yeah, I think this program is meaningful to people like us because it creates opportunity. Obviously, market is tough out there. Some of us, like such as ourselves, are trying to save money to buy a home. So that kind of cost savings when we're a bit younger, gets trickled down. Whether it's Joanne saving some money because she can access some funding, in turn gives us a better rate at our rent, or affordable housing for us, which is great. I think it all comes kind of full circle because we'll be hopefully in Joanne's shoes someday, where we're looking to renovate our house and bring some tenants in and save for the future. And I will definitely be looking to grants and whatever's available to help us. So I think it pays forward, and I think with the state of the economy, it's great for us to have these community initiatives.
And I think we hear a lot that there's no shovels in the ground and change takes time, which is true. But I think this ARU program can show us that there are shovels in the ground and people are building more rental housing in our community, which is the overall goal of this program. And we feel like we are achieving these goals, and we also have more work to do. And so we will just continue to evolve the program to meet the needs of the community.